Principal funding for Rights and Wrongs has been provided by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and the Open Society Institute.
Hello, I'm Charlene Hunter Galt, and you're watching Rights and Wrongs from the grounds of the Lincoln Memorial, where thousands of Americans are marching for children's rights. On this edition of Rights and Wrongs, children's rights as human rights.
Global Vision presents Rights and Wrongs, Human Rights Television.
This is Children's Day in America's capital. We're on the grounds of the Lincoln Memorial, where Martin Luther King Jr. marched a generation ago for civil rights. Today, this vast assemblage is standing up for children's rights, proclaiming that America can do better. Like Dr. King's campaign, this one is also politically charged and controversial. But domestic politics aside, the issue of children's rights is today a global challenge. 187 nations, including the United States, have signed the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, but the United States Senate has yet to ratify it because of political debates over government funding for the UN. Against this American backdrop, we explore the issue of children's rights as human rights. Strictly speaking, this was not a human rights rally. But to organizer Marion Wright Edelman, who mobilized the 250,000 participants, the issue is both political and moral.
Oh, I think that all the people who came here together, standing together, really made a statement that we are drawing a moral line in the political sand, and there are a whole lot of people out here in America who want a different set of values and priorities for our children.
But there were critics, the strongest being conservatives on Capitol Hill, who charged that children's advocates want big government. There were also activists who hoped the rally might be the beginning of a new movement for children's rights as human rights. There was little consensus on what that implied.
Human rights means the most basic rights that we have as human beings. The right to be fed, the right to be clothed, the right to be housed, the right that children have a loving family.
You have to remember that parents' rights are children's rights. Children are under the care of their parents.
You know, we put these people into office to represent us, and that's not what they're doing. They're representing, the special interests. Well, I say the children are the special interests.
They have to be able to have a voice of their own. They have to be able to speak up and say, hey, this is what I want. This is what I need. And they don't have a voice in this country.
But some children are speaking up anyway, with their own ideas about human rights. Kristen Hoven was there for Children's Express, the youth news service.
A lot of people that we've talked to have agreed that that children have rights and should be respected for who they are and what they are.
Simon Rodberg is from Rise and Shine, a New York youth group.
I think children should have a right to have a say in their own future and in their own present, in what they do, their education, their family life, their economics. I think children have rights to grow up in a safe home, in a happy home, to be healthy, to have a good education, and to achieve their dreams, and to be able to dream their dreams.
Kristen Flood from Virginia is active in Amnesty International.
I think people are starting to realize that it's not just American children. It's all children have certain rights, and all children are the same, basically. Like a child in this stand for children right now, their lives are as much of value to us as a child in Burma or a child in South Africa.
The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child was created to ensure a broad range of children's rights. It was unveiled at ceremonies led by many heads of state at the 1990 Children's Summit. The document sets new global standards for the protection of children.
The way we respect the right of the child is in a way how we determine our own future.
Why was this convention necessary? Children were deemed to have special needs, needs that governments and families were urged to provide. The convention was based on the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In all, there are 54 articles in the convention guaranteeing children's right to education, family reunification, freedom of expression, health and health services, protection from abuse and neglect, protection from child labor. In 1995, United States UN Ambassador Madeleine Albright signed it on behalf of the Clinton administration.
This convention is an expression of our commitment to the survival and humane treatment of children everywhere.
The issue of children's rights should be addressed in global terms and in terms of the UN Convention because we are part of the world.
Ken Rumney, a school teacher from Buffalo, New York, promoted the convention.
This UN Convention, if it were ratified, would certainly guarantee them a lot more security.
Human rights advocates say American children are losing ground relative to children in other industrialized countries. Here are some of the statistics they cite. Every day, 15 children are killed by firearms. 2,833 drop out of school. 8,493 are reported abused or neglected. Fully 21.8% of America's children, 15.3 million, live in poverty, 3 to 5 times the rates of Western European states. Marian Wright Edelman may differ from her critics about the causes of the U.S.'s attitude towards children and children's rights, but this was her day, and she concluded that government and families have to do more.
We just lack the will as a nation to protect our children like every other industrialized nation does, and we know that America can do better, so what we need to do is to build the will in a critical mass of Americans to say we're going to let no child be left behind.
Yet Edelman and the emerging children's rights movement have yet to make global human rights a focus and ratification of the Convention on the Rights of the Child a priority. The UN's attempt to get all nations of the world to adopt basic standards about protecting children, to define children's rights as human rights, still has little visibility in the United States.
This convention will not go into effect until this Congress as a whole passes implementing legislation. But the rights are just there. They have to be respected if we're going to have a full quality of life for our children.
I think that children's rights are definitely a human rights issue because the way you have it now, kids don't have an environment in which they can grow up and become good people. And if that's not a human right, I don't know what is.
You are watching Rights and Wrongs, Human Rights Television.
Why are you here today?
To stand for children. Children are very important. They are the future. And without children, there is no future. They make up everything.
We've been talking all day to young American children about their rights and what they think about them. But what about children in other countries? To find out a little bit more about how European nations protect and empower their children, we sent producer Diana Frank to Denmark. Here is her report.
Jeg synes også, at alle de voksne, de skal også lytte til os, ikke? Fordi det er trods alt også, at de opdrager.
Barndom er jo bare en forberedelse på voksenlivet. Så det er meget godt, at vi får lov til at bestemme nogle ting selv.
Jeg synes bare ikke, de bliver hørt nok.
These 7th graders are debating whether or not children should be hit. Not surprisingly, all are opposed to the idea. But some of these preschoolers, watching a skit about a naughty child at the Grand Toften Daycare Center, disagree.
Give børn en røvfuld. Men derhjemme hos mig, der gider jeg kun til, hvis de må slå mig, så må jeg slå dem hårdere. Så synes jeg, at man skal smides op i seng.
Here in Denmark, children's rights as human rights are taken seriously. So seriously that even 3-year-olds get to express their opinions. Should corporal punishment be outlawed? The teacher writes down their answers. puts them in an envelope, and mails them to a unique government agency known as the Children's Council. The agency was established in 1994 to safeguard the rights of Danish children and to give them a public voice. It is now midway through a 3-year trial period. Per Schultz Jørgensen is its vice chairman.
Et børneråd er et ønske om at arbejde forebyggende. Og derfor er man nødt til, tror jeg, både at tilrettelægge lovgivningen, tilrettelægge hele beslutningssystemet ud fra et ønske om at få børn med ind i det.
There are no children on the Children's Council. Instead, 7 adult members consult regularly with 8 groups of children between the ages of 3 and 14. And once a year at the annual meeting, the children get to express their opinions directly to the council on issues like corporal punishment, involvement in family decisions, and school safety. Since it is an advisory agency, the Children's Council only proposes. It's Parliament that disposes. To date, at the recommendation of the Council, the Danish government has outlawed the possession of child pornography and earmarked money for children's programs in shelters for abused women. Like other Scandinavian countries, Denmark provides cradle-to-grave security for its citizens. Danish children already enjoy the right to free health care, free schooling all the way through university, and a government subsidy of about $1,000 a year regardless of the parents' income. What more could they need? Dr. Clarissa Krohn is the mother of 4.
Danish children do have a lot of rights, but the fundamental right that they don't have is the right to spend more time with their parents.
I dag er det sådan, at mere end 90% af småbørnsmødrene er på arbejdsmarkedet. Og det betyder, at børn har også brug for at få understreget, at de også er mennesker på lige fod med lige rettigheder.
Here at the Grand Toften Daycare Center, caregivers practice what the Children's Council can only preach. Children here have the right to make many decisions about their own lives.
Hvordan vi spiser madpakker, og hvornår man selv bestemmer, hvad man skal ud. Og en mor selv bestemmer, om man må gå ned i sandkassen. Børnene skal fortælle alting.
Hvorfor?
Fordi det er sjovest.
Jutta Ha heads the daycare center.
Vi lavede om på den dengang for mange år siden. Der lærte vi nemlig, at når du har afgivet magten, så kan du ikke tage den tilbage igen. Så har du givet den fra dig. Det var godt for os at lære det, men det var svært, fordi det handler om magt, ikke? Det handler også om at afgive magt. Angstprovokerende for dem.
But the parents soon got over their fears.
Helt klart en fordel, for det barn, der leger og har det sjovt, ikke, og kan mere end måske så mange andre, det synes jeg, det er en klar fordel. Ikke?
De lærer at se kritisk på det og stille spørgsmålstegn ved de svar, de får. Og lære at argumentere, det er da døde irriterende nogle gange, at man ikke bare kan sætte de der unger på plads. Men for mig synes jeg det godt, fordi jeg selv stiller spørgsmål ved tingene. Ikke?
Nej, men du skulle da heller ikke nogen.
At Blågårdsskolen, these 7th graders are very aware of their rights. To most educators, 7th graders with rights sounds like trouble, but not here, according to their teacher, Axel Balle Hansen.
Og specielt her omkring 7. klasse, hvor de plejer at eksplodere, ikke? Det gør de ikke, den her klasse. Og de har selvfølgelig gjort en masse ting, de ikke må, men de står ved det. Man kan snakke med dem om tingene. Deres selvværd og deres selvtillid vokser med det her, og de vokser som et fællesskab.
Still, there are a few critics who think things have gone too far. Tova Fergo is a member of parliament.
Når man nedsætter råd, så skal de jo bestille noget, ellers er der ikke nogen idé i at nedsætte dem. Og det vil sige, at de sidder og finder på alle mulige ting, som de kan blande sig i. Og det, de blander sig i, det er netop i familiernes liv, børn og forældres liv med hinanden. Altså det er jo sådan, at familien er en helhed, og det er forældrene, der har ansvaret for børnene. Det er ganske overflødigt med sådan et centralistisk råd.
Et samfund bliver nødt til at erkende og være sig bevidst, at vi kan ikke bare overlade det til et privat marked, eller overlade det til private motiver, der kan være for at tage hånd om børn.
So, do Danish children have any real influence on policy?
Både ja og nej, altså.
Jeg er ikke sikker på, de tager os så alvorligt, som vi skal tage.
Måske ikke endnu, men jeg tror, hvis det bliver ved, at folk vil få mere opmærksomhed på, at der er et børneråd, og børn godt vil have deres meninger fra.
It's too early to tell if children actually have an impact or if this is all just child's play. Parliament is expected to make the Children's Council permanent. In the meantime, the council is looking at ways to give parents more leave. In a world where 6-year-old Pakistanis are chained to carpet looms, 8-year-old Thai girls are forced into prostitution, Latin American teenagers work in sweatshops, and child abuse in the United States is skyrocketing, the problems that children in Denmark face pale in comparison. Could it be because the Danes are listening to their children?
Det er rart at vide, at man måske kan bruge det, at man er barn, til noget fornuftigt.
Rights and Wrongs is now online. Please be in touch with us by email and visit our internet site on the World Wide Web.
The point has been made here and elsewhere that many American children are falling behind their counterparts in other countries. America, for example, ranks 18th internationally in infant mortality, and the gap between rich and poor is growing faster here than other industrialized countries. Still, children in many developing countries find basic food, shelter, and educational opportunities far more difficult to come by. With support from UNICEF and the Maryknoll missionaries, Rights and Wrongs asked producer Elon Ziv to work with international producers to create video diaries highlighting the needs of children without rights around the world.
My name is Yasmin. I am 11 years old. My house is in mid Calcutta. Our mother is not with us. When I was little, my father died. My mother brought us up with the help of my uncle. 3 months ago, my mother left us and went off with another man. It is now up to us to look after one another. Didi, why did our mother get married and leave us?
I didn't know she was going to get married. She said she was going to live in another place. She was not going to live with us anymore. She took our middle sister and went.
Do you think she will return?
She won't come now.
My brother-in-law divorced my sister so that he could marry again. There is no place in my house for all of us brothers and sisters to sleep. That is why they sleep in my uncle's shop. We go and wake them up in the morning. They want to send us, my younger brother and sisters, to the orphanage. But we will never let that happen. We could never go to the school because it cost a lot. But we now go to the Calcutta Rescue School. If you study well, they send you to the high school. If I study well, they will send me to the high school too.
Yasmin. तेरे छोटे भाई है ना छत पर चलो.
Yasmin, I'm very sorry we cannot enroll you in formal school this time.
Why can't you put me in it?
You haven't been coming since 3 months, so you are behind in your studies. We have to see how you are doing in your studies. You have not done well in all your subjects. Are you going to study this time? Or don't you have a desire to study?
I will study.
Why didn't you come to school today?
I missed the bus, Didi.
You missed the bus? You don't want to read and write? Where did you go?
I had to wash clothes.
Was she really late because she had to wash clothes?
Yes, Didi. I gave her clothes to wash. Our elder sister wanted them washed.
Don't you wish that Yasmin should study?
Of course we want her to study, but our sister's daughter is very sick. Are you able to answer the questions?
Yes.
You're not going to miss school anymore, are you? You'll study well?
Yes.
Do you study every day? What do you do in the evenings? Do you study?
Yes, Didi.
When do you study in the evenings?
At 6 o'clock in the evening.
What kind of work do you have to do before sitting to study?
When the house chores are finished, then I study.
What housework do you have to do?
I clean the dishes, make the bread, and sometimes cook rice.
After that?
After that, I come to school.
You will go to school, won't you? How will things work otherwise? I'm trying my best, you know. If we don't do something, who will? Do you think Brother Aslam will look after us? You know, my life is a failure. Don't think of marriage. If you study instead of getting married, maybe you can do something for yourself and for us. If someone talks of marriage, don't listen to them. Do you understand? Your life could become miserable if you marry now. My life has become miserable. So much money was spent on my marriage, and yet...
Now my brother-in-law is pushing me to get married. If I get married, at least there will be one less person to feed. I'm very worried about my family. For this reason, I will definitely not get married now.
You are a very fortunate girl. You understand Hindi, don't you? Your education line is very good. You'll get married before the age of 26. Between 22 and 26.
Thank you for watching Rights and Wrongs. Please write to us or email us. There is a list of children's rights organizations posted on our worldwide web page on the internet. I'm Charlene Hunter Galt, reporting from America's capital.
We are
Principal funding for Rights and Wrongs has been provided by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and the Open Society Institute. Rights and Wrongs welcomes your written comments and suggestions. You can also order a transcript for $5 or a video cassette for $29.95 plus $5 shipping and handling by writing to the Global Center, Box 311, Radio City Station, New York 10101. Checks or money orders only. Credit card holders may call 1-800-541-2535. You can also reach us by email, and please visit our website on the World Wide Web.